They've got some experience and they want to see a repeat of that. As they leave the blocks with a blast from silence to a riot of noise as they get the boat moving. Look at that absolute focus on the faces of these 4 young women from Henley Rowing Club.
Riding here with the crew from Latymer Upper School A. They reached the quarterfinals of the junior quads at Henley Women's Regatta. They were second in the B final of the championship girls quads at the National Schools Regatta, and they last won this event in 2013.
Well, I think both crews off to a really good start here and really showing that they're well drilled. Sculls are moving well together. A lot of power going down at the moment. Looking at the face there of Hannah Hills, 16 years of age, in the bow seat of the Henley Rowing Club A crew. She's got some experience at Henley Women's Regatta, having won last year in the J16 quads, and various other achievements and medals to her name. So there's a lot of experience despite the young years in the Henley crew on the near side.
And my crew, who were entered in this event from Kinross, and I were watching the Latymer B crew race Henley A this morning and looking at the really distinctive difference in the styles. So Latymer A and B rowing very similarly, quite upright at the finish of the stroke, moving on to the next stroke. So really unfussy sort of rowing around the back end. Obviously very good compression and leg-driven rhythm, very powerful, strong girls. Whereas the Henley crew really levering into the second half of the stroke and really using their bodies very effectively. And we saw them come through the Latymer crew in the latter stages of the race. But to me, it looks like Latymer A has a much bigger margin than Latymer B did at this point in the race. Yeah,
we can really see that contrast, actually, can't you? If you look at Georgia Brown sitting closest to the camera here, stroking the Henley Rowing Club A crew, exactly as you say, sort of a bit more of an opening up the body towards the second half of the stroke. You can see that there, drives the legs down and then kind of leans back a lot further. That's a slightly different style, could be very effective itself. But as you say, you've been coaching a junior women's quad for Henley, coming to Henley for the first time. What do you look for at this level of sculling? What are you trying to get your athletes to do, Sarah?
I think that's a really hard question, I guess. I think what I look for at this point and what I'm trying to give my athletes is good skill and good understanding of the stroke and why we do what we do. I always think it's really important that athletes understand how to row and why to row the way that we do, and understanding the biomechanics of the boat. So, you know, understanding why it's important to not have slip at the catch and to get those catches in together and sharply at the front so you're not missing that load. Why it's important to know how to use your body through the mid-stroke to really accelerate the boat and to be able to really complete the strokes and take the time to finish off, because that's where the boat's at its peak velocity. So you don't want to disturb it, you don't want to rip the puddles, you really want to be clean and push those strokes away. So I think at this level, junior level, it really is about understanding how to row the boat and laying those strong foundations for those athletes to hopefully progress in the sport once they leave school.
Well, I think, you know, both of these crews with their slightly contrasting styles seem to have got some pretty good foundations. Looking there at the Latymer Upper School A crew, Bella Scavazza-Murphy in the bow seat, Mia Anderson at 2, Maddie Lloyd at 3, Maddie Lloyd at 3, and Darla Matthews at stroke. We're both tiring here in the commentary boxes, but we're not seeing the athletes tiring as fast as we are. Looking at the backers of the Latymer crew, and you can see what Sarah was talking about here, a little bit more of an upright style, perhaps less additional movement, just pushing with the legs and letting the oars come through, and quite patient on the finish rather than kind of levering back on it, just sitting there and waiting for the stroke to end itself.
Yeah, absolutely. A much more sort of leg-driven, front-loaded style of rowing. And we can see a little steering correction there from Latymer as they just get back onto their station. But Henley Rowing Club A, will they have anything to throw at Latymer Upper in the second half of this race? We saw them really open it up this morning and give it everything in the second half. Do they have that gas in the tank I mean, it's tough to have raced the quarterfinal this morning. They were tough races.
Yeah, and I do think if you're in the trailing crew, that's one thing that's going to be going through your mind. I mean, how much longer can the race go on, having had a really tough race at 9 o'clock this morning, and then having to wait all day. So one thing is obviously you want the recovery, but actually, you know, you're also kind of impatient to get the day done and see what you can do. So it's a very, very tough thing, both physically and mentally for these young women. But I think you can see, just contrasting on the faces now, a bit more relaxation, a bit more comfort. They're sort of in control of this race now, as we look at the face of Darla Matthews there, sitting comfortably in the stroke seat. She glances down at the device at her feet. That gives her the stroke rate and the boat speed and the time of the course, just checking that she's happy with all of those things. A bit of extra information, but the main information she needs to know is that she can see the back of Hannah Hill, Sophia Hahn, Daisy Bellamy and Georgia Brown sitting behind them now, a couple of lengths down as they approach the final 500 metres or so of the race.
Yes, we look down there into the Latymer Upper School A crew boat. I mean, they've been really well matched all the way down the course, haven't they? They're just so well drilled. To see their A and their B crew rowing very similar techniques, looking down into their boat. I'm always so impressed at the quality of these Diamond Jubilee scullers and their capability for their age. It's unbelievable. I
mean, I totally agree. From this distance, you can't tell that they're junior women. They really are sculling like a more experienced crew with you know, many more years of sculling, many tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of sculling strokes behind them. So all credit. And I think, you know, the quality of this event, as we said, and the extra entries that the stewards admitted really reflects how sculling has grown in this country and around the world, and how the sport of women's rowing has grown. And I think you could be sitting at home having never rowed a stroke, and you could be here in 2 or 3 years at Henley Royal Regatta competing on the same track as the world's best. And that's what this is all about. 180 years of the world's best at every level coming together to celebrate the sport of rowing, to compete in friendship and respect in front of an enthusiastic crowd, a loud crowd, and enjoying the very last race of a action-packed day here at Henley. And just look at that, the spectators getting to their feet, coming and standing to applaud these two crews of junior women demonstrating how to row quads past the enclosures.
I mean, well done to Latymer Upper School A. This is incredible. Second in the B final of the Championship Girls Quads at the National Schools Regatta. And now they're into the final tomorrow. They're going to be facing one of the medaling crews from the A final at the National Schools, so we'll see how that plays out for them tomorrow. They will be taking on Headington, but as they look for the line, they're crossing in the final event of the Saturday and this evening. An absolute delight. Look at these girls, and they have done such a great job. Bella Scavazza-Murphy in the bow, Mia Anderson in 2, Maddie Lloyd in 3, and Darla Matthews in stroke. You're through to the final of the Diamond Jubilee Challenge Cup at Henley Royal Regatta for 2019. Well done.